Make some noise! You wanna see more? Oh wow! Pretoria, you are looking fabulous! Come join us! Come join us! Everybody! Everybody! Hey darlings! Hey darlings! Hey darlings! Woo! Alright, I'm gonna allow you. I will allow you. Take your phones out, don't be shy. This opportunity comes once, and that will only happen on the 21st of March 2018. So take a picture. Tell them you know this diva. Label Z, the more honey. Don't be scared, don't be scared. Let's start that side. Hey. Alright. My middle people, are you ready for me? Which one would you like? Sad. I'll go this side. Skataba. Snap. Skataba, charge a battery later. Rita, charge a battery later. And who said you can't be fabulous on the 21st? Oh wow! I see people are joining us. Are you guys excited? Thank you so much for hiring me. Now I'm in relationships. Mr. Hendrik, yeah, you look suave. Please turn around. Yeah! Oh, stop it, I like it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Hendrik representing Gay SA. Make some noise.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hendrik Beard and I'm the station manager of Gay SA Radio, Africa's only online LGBTQ+ radio station, and today I also represent Pretoria Pride. Permit me a moment to become a little bit serious. I was born in the 1960s when homosexuality was a crime. I realized I was different in school in the 1970s when people like myself were arrested and thrown into jail for being different. I was a student in the early 1980s when the apartheid regime repression was probably at its worst. That same government sentenced me to 2 years military conscription, during which time they declared a state of emergency, and I grew up in a very repressed society, the time when men ruled and when women were quiet and in the kitchen, a time when people like myself were jailed and persecuted and attacked. And yet none of what happened during those dark years could stop me from discovering and later exploring my sexuality. To meet other people like myself, we had to meet in public parks in the dark, in the middle of the night, where men with baseball bats would come and they would come and bash the moffies. We had to meet in dark bars, and we were talking this morning, there was one just around the corner here. And these places, we knew they could and would be raided by a heavy-handed police force. And we knew that we could and would go to jail. We had to hide. We had very little information with which to lead our lives. We were secret and we were despised. Now, many young people here today will never understand the paranoia that we experienced. The way we had to hide who we were, the fear of being discovered and outed, the panic when a new disease started spreading and wiping out a whole generation. I was never brave. I hid, I compromised, and I had no confidence in who I was. But today, things have changed. And I want to salute those brave people who did not keep quiet, people who spoke up and said things needed to change. I never met him, but my personal hero is a man called Simon Nkoli, who was instrumental in organizing the very first Pride March in Johannesburg, who was part of the very first, or one of the first gay and lesbian organizations in the country. A man who bravely fought for change and whom we must forever honor as the architect of the freedoms that we enjoy today. Now, many things have changed for me over the past 30 years. Not only is my sexuality legal, a person of the same gender can marry another person of the same gender if you so choose, even though Home Affairs can still discriminate against us. Now, the right to do so was fought for by a very brave couple who took our democratically elected government to court to force them to grant us this right. And there were many other organizations and individuals who fought tirelessly for our rights to live freely, to have access to life-saving medicines and services. I've met and worked with some of these brave people, but for the most part, I will never know who they were and what they did. These days, I, like many others and like you, we take our rights for granted. We just live our lives freely. But I want to take this moment to thank these people, to say thank you, Simon. Thank you for all who made this moment here today possible. And I want to urge you to make the effort to learn about our LGBTQ plus history, to understand the sacrifices that people like Simon made, and to honor their bravery. Today is another big milestone for the LGBTQ plus community and our rights here in South Africa, and indeed on the African continent. What we are doing here today is, to my knowledge, and I stand to be corrected, a first. We are making history again. I salute the DA-led government of our city, who are proving themselves not only our allies, but also part of our community. And I've already written to the Office of the President to ask permission and request them that on the 16th of May, when we celebrate the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia and Biphobia, that we do exactly the same thing at the Union Buildings and at Parliament in Cape Town. I hope they see what we are doing here today and that we can do this on a national level too. The Pride flag is a symbol of our diverse community, a worldwide symbol that says we are here, we are queer, get over it. And as we raise our flag today, let us be proud of the people who went before us, the people whose efforts made this possible. And when we celebrate our Pride events, as we're going to do in the first weekend of October right here in our capital city, let us also make it a political thing again. Too many of lesbian women are brutally murdered and raped in townships. Too many gender non-conforming men are attacked and left for dead. People are being spat on. People are still being discriminated against. And we must repoliticize pride so that we can guard our rights vigilantly, because it could so easily be taken away. I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, there was a hate monger, a man by the name of Stephen Anderson, who wanted to come from the US, and we stopped him because we were vigilant. Stay vigilant. Our rights have been very hardly won, and we need to protect them. So to end off, Simon Nkoli, I dedicate this moment and this day to you. You are the reason we can gather here today and hoist our flag for all of South Africa and all of Africa to see. I thank you.
Is my favorite. He's going to make his way. Mr. Zach Mbele. He is the MP, Minister of Police. Why I say Google him, there's this nice story. I hope you'll tell us. Ne? Mara, look at him, look at me, and think of our kids. Mr. Zach, come my next relationships. Mr. Zach, you will not be my future ex. You can be my current and forever. Mr. Zach, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks very much for that introduction. I would like to start with a song, if I may. We are, after all, at a DA political event. I hope enough of you know it to join along, and it's very apt for today being Human Rights Day, because it's a song that speaks to to fighting for rights, to enforcing rights, and to standing up for our rights. Amalungelo tina silwela, amalungelo wetu tina silwela. Do we know it? Do we not know it? Okay, asingene phela. Amalungelo tina silwela, amalungelo wetu tina silwela. Amalungelo wetu tina silwela. Viva TA, viva! Viva TA, viva! Phambili ngehuman rights day. Amalungelo ethu thina silwela. Viva TA, viva! Viva TA, viva! Phambili ngehuman rights day, phambili. Thank you all very much for being here. It's my great honor to speak today. As some of you may know, I am the first openly gay black member of parliament. Thank you. On the one hand, it is an honor, however accidental, that this title fell on me. But on the other hand, it's a real shame and a real indictment that this country was only able to mark that milestone in 2014. More than 20 years after the start of democracy. So it shows how long the road is to be traveled for full inclusivity, full tolerance, and full visibility for LGBT people. But at least we're making progress, however slow. The first thing I want to say, and probably the most important thing as my speech today, is to affirm and reinforce the notion that LGBTI rights are human rights. There's this nonsense that comes up every now and then that for full inclusivity, full tolerance, and full visibility for LGBT people. But at least we're making progress, however slow. The first thing I want to say, and probably the most important thing as my speech today, is to affirm and reinforce the notion that LGBTI rights are human rights. There's this nonsense that comes up every now and then that when LGBTI people are calling and advocating for equality, for inclusion, we're somehow asking for special rights. That's absolute nonsense. LGBTI people are full and equal members of society, and therefore when we ask and we push for our equality, we simply ask for the rights that everybody else enjoys, everybody else is entitled to in the Constitution. And on that point about rights being in the Constitution, it is not enough, and we know this, it is not enough for rights to exist simply on paper, in the Constitution, in our laws, or in policy. If they are not able to be enforced and upheld by strong, effective, and capable state institutions. Hendrik made a very good point during his speech about how the rights we enjoy today were hard fought and hard won, and that vigilance is our eternal duty in order to preserve and to strengthen those rights. And so my goal today is to say that firstly, our eternal duty is vigilance, to repeat what Hendrik said. But secondly, we then need to be part of the fight and the struggle to build a capable state. So we have strong, effective state institutions we can rely on to uphold and to enforce our rights. And that means we need to strengthen accountability in governments. Whoever is in power, in whichever sphere of governments, they need to know they will be held accountable by the voters, where if you perform well, you'll be rewarded with another term of office. But if you mess up and you don't perform, you're going to get voted out, firstly as a punishment for that, and secondly to give other political players the chance to show their mettle and to show what they can do. So it's about building democracy, it's about realigning politics, it's about strengthening the opposition and building a credible political alternative, which the DA is and seeks and strives to be increasingly so year on year. And it's only through having that accountability in governments, having strong effective state institutions that our rights as LGBTI people are upheld, enforced, and affirmed. So I thank you for your time, and I wish you all an enjoyable Human Rights Day further. We both celebrate and we also affirm that we deserve our full place under the sun like everybody else. Thanks very much.
This moment, it's like, you know, when you go to a black wedding, they tell you the ceremony starts at 10. At 3 o'clock, Umakoti is still putting that wig on. But I spoke to my people and they said, Umakoti said, Afigi, pause. Mara, why do I do this to myself? You see, you invite me to a champagne party and I bring beers. Stay. Not now, my friends. Alrighty, so I'd like to go. Ooh, this headgear. I want to let you see. I told you, Umakoti has arrived. The bride is here. I want you to cheer. I want you to have fun because this is why we are here. We are literally making history. Let us be the change that we want to see. Make some noise. Ladies and gents and brothers, it is time for us to raise the flag.
Yizwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina usapho lwayo Murena buluka sechama sa Yesu Ufelice tindwalela swenge Sounds the call to come together and united we shall stand. Let us live together. Tina Sabolwayo Murena buluka sechama sa Yesu Ufelice tindwalela swenge Sounds the call to come together and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, make some noise. How beautiful.